Welcome to vpod.ai. This deep dive is sponsored by Stonefly. They're a leader in enterprise storage, backup and disaster recovery, AI storage, and cloud solutions. So if you happen to be looking for secure ransomware-proof storage, well, Stonefly sells air-gapped and mutable storage. You can contact sales at stonefly.com to schedule a demo. Okay, let's try and unpack this. We are looking at just this single enormous corporate commitment. It really feels like a massive signpost, pointing exactly where the U.S. economy, specifically that AI backbone, is headed. We're diving into some recent announcements here, outlining a, staggering $9 billion investment, and it's all concentrated entirely within one U.S. state. It's earmarked for infrastructure and, just as critically, for the people who are going to run it all.
Yeah, what's really fascinating, I think, is moving past just the sort of abstract hype around AI. We're seeing how quickly that global tech ambition is translating into something physical, something local, really tangible stuff. Because when we talk about advanced AI, we're talking about computational requirements that are just staggering.
Yeah.
And they need literal dedicated physical buildings. So our mission today really is to understand not just the sheer size of the 9 billion, but the specific kind of granular details, like where exactly is this money going and how does it create this new type of, localized, highly skilled economic impact?
Right. Let's start with that anchor point then. The scale. $9 billion, that's the figure. And this is all pledged for investment just in South Carolina, with the spending planned through 2027. That commitment alone is breathtaking, especially when you think about the relatively short time frame. For context, we're talking about an investment that probably rivals major annual infrastructure budgets for the entire state. It's huge.
Absolutely. And that scale is, it's very deliberate. If you connect this to the bigger picture, this isn't just some isolated spending spree. It's really a strategic move in what feels like a global, an infrastructure race, maybe. We've seen similar massive infrastructure plays recently across the U.S., right? Yeah. Also internationally, places like the U.K., Belgium. The primary goal, the singular goal really, is to expand the physical AI infrastructure. We're talking the actual server farms, the cooling systems, everything needed to support the next generation of large language models and advanced computing. So this commitment, it kind of cements the U.S.'s operational capacity here. It's essentially building the specialized factories that are going to run the AI models of the future.
That does raise an immediate question, though, doesn't it, about capacity and planning?
Yeah.
Given all the current global pressures, you've got inflation, supply chain volatility, rising costs for materials like copper, steel. Is $9 billion through 2027 actually?
Yeah.
Well, is it enough for the scope they're describing? Are they maybe over-promising a bit, or is the plan just incredibly tight?
That's a really critical financial point. The fact that the money is committed over such a defined short timeline ending in 2027 suggests one of two things. Either they have extremely confident, maybe even aggressive execution planning, or perhaps they're prioritizing getting that initial build-out capacity online super fast over, say, waiting for costs to stabilize. They seem to know that speed to market with AI infrastructure is, right now, maybe more valuable than waiting for perfect economic conditions. So this $9 billion, you could almost see it as a down payment on computational capability that they feel needs to be online now to stay competitive.
Okay, so the money's massive, the timeline's tight, objective is global leadership in AI capability. Got it.
Yeah.
But you can't just drop $9 billion anywhere without some pretty strong strategic reasons. Where exactly in the Palmetto State, South Carolina, is this infrastructure actually being built, and why there specifically? Why not, establish data center hubs like Northern Virginia or somewhere like that?
Right, and that geographic choice, that's where the strategy really starts to come into focus. It's highly targeted. They're concentrating on the Charleston area infrastructure corridor. And that offers some key advantages. Access to reliable and affordable power grids, that's absolutely paramount. These data centers, they just consume gargantuan amounts of energy. Equally important, though, is being close to major transcontinental fiber optic lines. Can't forget the data pipes. And, they also need significant chunks of land. And let's be honest, land is often cheaper and more available in coastal South Carolina than it is in those hyper-developed tech corridors you mentioned.
Okay, so it's that combination then. Power, fiber access, and just plain physical space. Makes sense. What does the investment actually translate into physically? Are we talking like one giant mega site, or is it more of a distributed network?
It seems to cover two specific kind of complementary types of development, and both are designed to reinforce the state's existing tech footprint, which is interesting. So first, there's the immediate expansion of the existing data center campus they already have in Berkeley County.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so they're likely optimizing, scaling up current operations, probably installing next-gen GPU clusters, improving cooling systems, that sort of thing.
Right, expanding what they already know works. And the second part of this geographic puzzle, what's that?
The second part is where they're really laying down new foundational roots. That's the continued construction of two entirely new sites, this time in Dorchester County. And that really signifies confidence, I think, and longer-term planning. They are just boosting capacity where they are. They're diversifying their location risk and clearly preparing to dramatically increase their operational footprint overall. You know, when we talk about AI infrastructure, we're often discussing facilities built to incredibly high standards, things measured by power usage effectiveness, PUE.
Right, the efficiency metric.
Exactly. Lower PUE means higher efficiency, especially in cooling all that intense heat generated by, thousands of GPUs running machine learning models. These new sites, they'll almost certainly be designed for future-proof low PUE operations from the ground up.
Okay, that paints a really vivid picture of the hardware side. Expansion in Berkeley, 2 new facilities going up in Dorchester, all focused on optimized power for AI. But, I mean, that level of complexity, it can't run itself. This physical infrastructure is not just metal and concrete, is it? It needs highly specialized human capital.
If we zoom out from the construction sites for a second, the real investment has to be in minimizing that human bottleneck, right?
Precisely. That is the crucial link. It's what separates just a temporary construction boom from, long-term economic resilience. A $9 billion investment in hardware basically fails the moment you don't have the skilled people to manage the sophisticated power, the networking, the physical security. And it looks like the corporate commitment here recognized that bottleneck early on.
So what specific steps are being taken then? How are they making sure South Carolinians can actually fill these highly technical roles that are being created by all this growth? Well, the commitment includes a very targeted focus on workforce training, and it's funded through a Google.org grant, specifically provided to one organization, the Electrical Training Alliance, or ETA.
The Electrical Training Alliance. That sounds incredibly specific. Focusing on vocational trades rather than, say, software engineering boot camps or something.
Yeah.
Why the ETA? That seems
It
interesting.
does, doesn't it? And it raises a very important strategic point. Why is a major tech player getting involved in funding training for essentially electrical workers?
Yeah.
But the answer is kind of inherent in the infrastructure itself. Data centers are, first and foremost, just massive consumers of electricity. They need skilled electricians, skilled technicians, people who understand not only traditional electrical safety, but also complex high-voltage systems, UPS systems, advanced climate control, the cooling apparatus. It's highly specialized work.
Okay, so the demand for that reliable, specialized electrical expertise is just enormous. Got it. But how does AI fit into the ETA's training then? Is it just about learning new wiring standards for data centers, or is there something more transformative happening?
This is where it gets really interesting. The grant's explicit purpose is to help integrate AI tools directly into the ETA's training curriculum.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a fascinating pivot. Traditionally, an apprentice learns manual inspection, repair methods. Now, they're being trained potentially to use AI for things like predictive maintenance algorithms. So identifying potential failure points in the power grid or maybe the cooling loops before they actually fail. They might be using AI-optimized software for validating circuit designs or maybe energy load balancing within the facility.
That feels like a pretty profound shift in vocational training. So instead of AI just replacing jobs, which is the common fear, here it's becoming almost like a co-pilot, enhancing the skills of the tradespeople who maintain the very infrastructure that the AI itself runs on.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. It elevates the trade, really, into much more technical specialization. The outcome of this specific training initiative, the stated goal, is to prepare more than 160 apprentices for careers specifically in the state's growing tech and energy sector. Now, 160 might sound like a small number compared to $9 billion.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
But these are high-value, highly skilled technical roles. These are the people who literally keep the lights on and the servers running 24/7.
Yeah.
It seems to be about quality over sheer quantity in this case.
That connects the money, the location, and the human capital really beautifully. We're seeing like a direct intentional funding stream flowing from this massive corporate investment right down to the specific curriculum being used in a local training facility.
Okay, let's try and bring this all together then. What is this whole integrated approach? The massive money, the specific geography in Berkeley and Dorchester, and this targeted AI-infused training for electricians, what does it ultimately signify? I think it signifies a kind of strategic blueprint for the future of how technology gets deployed. It tells us that these major tech players, they view AI innovation not as purely a software project that just lives in the cloud somewhere, but as a commitment that requires, as you said earlier, deepening roots through physical, localized investments. And that's fundamentally different, perhaps, from previous tech booms where maybe the infrastructure was often outsourced or treated more like an afterthought.
And the key takeaway here seems to be that this investment directly addresses maybe the single biggest risk to sustaining AI growth long term: the physical limitations, the power, the space, the cooling.
Absolutely. You really can't scale AI capabilities globally without first stabilizing the physical foundations locally. This blueprint we're seeing, the Berkeley and Dorchester facilities, tied directly to upskilling the ETA workforce. It just highlights that indispensable link, the link between robust data infrastructure, sustained power delivery, and those specialized vocational skills. They seem to be consciously trying to close a potential skills gap before the facilities even become fully operational, ensuring they can help power the state's digital economy for years to come. It's quite forward thinking, really.
So just to recap for you listening, we've seen a remarkably clear, quite integrated blueprint laid out here. A massive $9 billion investment running through 2027, focused infrastructure expansion in Berkeley County, plus 2 brand new sites going up in Dorchester County, and perhaps most uniquely, this highly targeted workforce grant, specifically integrating AI tools into the training of 160 future electrical and technical workers through the Electrical Training Alliance. It's really an investment in hardware, power, location, and very specific human intelligence, all rolled into one.
Yeah, and what really stands out for me, and maybe something for you to mull over, is this realization the AI revolution is fundamentally an infrastructure and energy revolution. It's not just code. So if $9 billion is needed now just to expand computational infrastructure in one state, what does that scale imply for regional power consumption over the next decade? It's got to be enormous.
Yeah.
And also, how will this balance play out? You've got highly skilled job creation, like these 160 apprentices, which is great. But how does that weigh against potential job displacement in other sectors as these incredibly powerful AI models actually come online and get deployed more widely?
Yeah.
Well, it's something to contemplate as these deep roots are being established.
That is a truly provocative thought to leave you with. Just a reminder, this deep dive was sponsored by Stonefly, a leader in enterprise storage, backup and disaster recovery, AI storage, and cloud solutions. If you are looking for secure, ransomware-proof storage, Stonefly sells air-gapped and immutable storage solutions. You can contact sales@stonefly.com to schedule a demo. Thank you for joining us.